'02 as far as developing a water plan for the county. And we discussed and reviewed what had been accomplished in those 8 years up to this juncture. And basically come up with two goals. One was to establish what self-help projects are out there that need to be worked on in the next 5 years. And then the major projects that need to be developed and worked on in that 5-year period. And basically requested each PSD and water provider, being West January, town of West Hamlin, to look at their specific areas and try to see what are the needs, what's real, what can be done, and make these as close as possible to reality as to what kind of footage we're talking about, type of pipes, fire hydrants, and basically the cost involved. And so we have told them that we would have a representative to come out and meet with them, and that being Chris Terry, to do the mapping part in conjunction with the engineers and the water providers. So the cost associated to the PSDs or to the engineering firms to help put this together will be paid out of this grant at some juncture as they get work and send the invoice, and the PSD or water provider okays that. But it's a project that we think it certainly helped guide us down through the last period of time since '02. And yeah, I was really a little bit, I guess, a little bit thinking, well, I just didn't realize that we had done as much as we have accomplished. And when you look at the period of time when we started, $40-some million of projected cost to do it, and we had completed probably 90% of the project that we set out to do when we set that, put those down. And you just don't realize it, or I didn't. One project was on that list, and I keep it at home right beside my computer, the 15, 16 projects that we identified then, and just sort of as a reminder to myself. And but when you start looking at what has happened, I think it has helped us and helps the PSDs look at what are the needs and setting priorities. So we're hoping to get this all done and a report given to the commission to review and hopefully accept by the middle of September, probably the last meeting of September. So we put it under a pretty strict get at it and get it done. So we've told Chris he's got until the end of August to get all this work done. So his money he has to get done. It will be a separate contract.
There's not these maps already available at the PSDs and the I mean, I know I've got some from the Branch and Big Kid PSDs on all their projects and stuff, and I think I've looked at one from your side of the county. Yeah. Well, my question is, this is not going to cost, that $6,000 we're going to pay him to assimilate these maps won't cost us anything as far as water lines because it's through this grant. Is that right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we asked them to let us use the grant for hardware, things that we could put in the ground or whatever, and they said no, it's part of this federal stimulus money, and it basically has to be spent on soft stuff, administrative type studies and things like that. So Mike, you might want to, you met with Chris, he's already been to your PSD.
I have already met with Chris, and I'm impressed. I don't think you have a problem with the timeline.
What he's going to do is it's a good question Dr. Banks asked, is he's going to look at, like he'll go to the PSD and meet with Mike and the board and see what, where are the areas that for sure that you do not have water, that you think you need water. And what he's going to do is take the maps that exist and show on this where these houses are located, and also tied to that what the cost of the line is going to be and what kind of lines, size of lines, fire hydrants and things like that. And we're hoping to have this developed into an overlay type thing so that it will be there to be used as for the county or as PSDs may want to use it.
Let me ask you on the meeting you had on the water line project, did you have the 14-mile mountain project in that or on top of the ambulance service?
Well, that part has, none of that's been done yet. What we had Branch Mid-Kip people were here, well, just one of the board member was here, I believe. But we just talked about, for them to go back and get with their people and start talking about what are the needs, identify those for the people.
So when he develops this, that's when you put that in?
That'll all be on it.
Okay.
And-
So, at that meeting, we talked about the overlays and trying to, not only for future projects, but the existing water lines we have to see where the fire hydrants are, so that it also be a safety fallback to the 911 and other safety groups. Is he going to be that detailed with this mapping so that we could do all the overlays, and that would be something that would be at the 911 and also at the water?
That's one of the objectives, yes. And that may involve him and the engineering business. Because the last time we went with West Virginia American and used their engineering group to develop all the maps and the final product. Protista, I believe, was the engineering group that did that. But at that time, West Virginia American put the cost up. It didn't cost us anything, but they were other issues developing at that juncture too. But this time, when we talked the other night, they said that they would help do it, but at a modest fee or whatever. So we will, since we got that money, and it's, what we don't use, we send back. So
I'll motion.
And I think it's important because, there's a lot of people that approach the commission and the PSDs about water extensions, and they have valid concerns. They need water, they don't have water, but when you can tie that area to a map and show the proximity from the water line to their house and the cost associated, sometimes they're going to understand that it's difficult financially to be able to secure the funds necessary, and to have that map to show them will help.
Would help
Inform
us,
the public.
would help us too, because they're all time coming to us saying, where are we at with that? And if we keep it updated, once we get it done and keep it updated, it'll help us tremendously too.
one of the things we've asked in this contract, we put a contract together that basically says there'll be maps, hard copy maps, be posted in the commission areas, out in the PSDs, things, so they can see not only where the water lines exist, but there also be color coded to show self-help projects that's planned for each area, as well as the major line extension projects. So
And I think it'll promote the PSDs and show the good work they've done and the hard work hours they've put in to make these projects become a reality.
Biggest thing I think is bring it up to date, because in 2002, you only had one house on this road. Now you may have 10. And it will show that it's concentrated enough to make it financially feasible to run water.
yeah, it's a good opportunity. We had talked about updating and doing something with our water plant, and when this grant money showed up, and that's when we asked for it and got it.
It also can show you, what impact putting water into an area has on the growth of the area, because you'll have those new houses and things and lines that have been established in that.